Alright, so a quick flashback. One of the first reviews I did, going through the bottom 100, was a movie called Crossover, which at the time was like in the bottom 15 of the list. Uh, and I watched it, and it was, really cheaply made and stuff, and was cheesy, and had bad stunts, but overall was far from one of the worst movies ever made. And at the time, I was just like, this is. I think people were just super racist about this. And that it got downvoted and ranked lowly just because it had an all black cast. Um, and, I think that's probably true to a certain extent. Like, it is really bad, but it's not bottom 100 bad. It really isn't. It's just a independently made, cheap movie with, non actors. They're not really great actors because I think a lot of the people in that movie were just non actors. Um, so, this movie I'll talk about right now reminded me a lot of that in the sense that it's pretty low in the bottom 100 and I can't quite figure out why. It's called And Be Real, and it's a movie about a black young woman in somewhere. I never actually caught the setting of this. I'm guessing like New York or something. But she is an aspiring rapper, although that's not really made clear at the beginning. I guess, yeah, she is practicing a lot of rap and stuff. It's always the same rap, though, which is, it gets pretty repetitive after a while. But, it's, the other movie it reminded me of, apart from Crossover and its, like, reception in the IMDb, was Deathbed, the Bed That Eats. And I know that's a stretch about a movie about a young woman wanting to become a famous rapper and a movie about a bed that eats people, but follow me on this. Deathbed, the Bed That Eats is really not like a B-horror movie about a bed that eats people. It's really an art movie when it comes down to it. It's an earnestly made attempt at making like an artistic, interesting movie, but it's so bad at being that it's taken as this really like crappy B movie. Uh, but yeah, if you watch it, it's very different than watching other B movies because it's an art movie. It's just a bad art movie. And that's what I feel like this is. And Be Real, there's just a lot of heavy-handedness in the message and in the shooting, and it takes itself really super seriously, but isn't quite technically capable. It's not quite good enough to be like a really good like story. Or a good movie about this story. I feel like this story actually had a little bit of potential, but it's just executed really slowly. Uh, this is a first-time director, I believe. Had worked with Spike Lee on a thing or two back in like the 90s or something. And just didn't, I don't think, had the experience to really pull off what seemed to be a passion project. And yeah, it's not horrible. It's not fun to sit through just because it's paced really bad, which is sort of the curse of a lot of these sort of rookie movies that are out there. Some of the acting is really just not good. The only person I recognized in this movie was one of the detectives from Dexter, plays her late father, who you see in a lot of flashbacks. And something I noticed about this movie that also sort of threw me off, in like the elevator pitch for this movie, like the one sentence synopsis, it says it's about a girl who is inspired by the Diary of Anne Frank to be a rapper, and that's not really what's happening. She occasionally reads bits of the Diary of Anne Frank, but that's because it's given to her by her father. And in like flashback sequences, you don't really see her like quoting things from it for the most part, or like she is reading a lot, but it's certainly not like a central part of the movie, which feels kind of deceptive. But I guess they're trying to make it a hook somehow. But anyway, the plot: she is a very private, very lonely sort of person who does a lot of writing and isn't paying attention in school because she's writing all the time. Her father has died at some point previous to the movie, a couple years, I guess. Uh, So she's writing a lot. And then her older brother, who's like the head of the family now, discovers that she's writing rap lyrics and discovers they don't suck, and then sells them to a guy who's pretending to be a rapper and is not good at it, who needs lyrics. And I don't remember how this actually starts, but for whatever reason, the brother is selling his sister's lyrics for money. For drugs? Question mark? I think. So I guess that's how that works. But in any case, like, she's writing these lyrics for her brother, and this dude keeps taking them, and then somehow they figure that out, And at the end, she musters up the confidence to go into a rap battle, and there's a climactic rap battle where she somehow, through the fact that she is capable of rapping, convinces people that this dude was stealing her lyrics, or her rhymes, or whatever. It's, that sounds like you could get in and out of that plot pretty fast, but it bogs down a lot. There's like a counselor at the school that wants to help her with things, and she has a friend who gets shot, and a lot of stuff. Like, people keep calling her, like, lazy and not doing anything, and stop reading those books, what's that gonna do you for, or making fun of her for reading, and things like that. Yeah, it's just, it could have been edited, like, down. I don't actually think it was that long of a movie, but it really could have been shorter. Like, there's a story here that could have been interesting, but just not well executed. And the acting's not great, for sure. I mean, this low-budget affair here. And be real. I expected this to be a lot worse, like a lot worse, given how lowly ranked it was and how the premise was. I thought it would, like, tie into, like, flashbacks to pretending to be Anne Frank or something like that, and no. I thought this could have been really, really massively insensitive, but it didn't really do that. It did not drift into that at all. It was a pretty straightforward, felt just like a passion project that wasn't done super well. And that brings us back to why is this movie so lowly ranked? I don't know. I don't know what brought enough attention to this movie for it to get ranked so low. I don't have a clue. I don't know if this is featured on some sort of famous review site, or if somebody brought attention to it and said this is a bad thing, everybody, trust me, this is super bad, and hate it. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the anything to super hate here. It's not good, but it's far from, like, the worst thing. I wasn't filled with rage or boredom, particularly. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't super interesting. It's too slow. There was a little too much going on, too. It could have been Occam's razored a little bit. But overall, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone just because there's nothing fun to get out of it. Because you can't make fun of it because it's not actually that bad. But it's also not incompetent, and it's not incompetent enough to be really funny or anything. There's not anything to say about it. I don't understand. Just like with Crossover, I don't quite understand how this got in the bottom 100. I have no idea. Not even a clue. I'll see if I can find a trailer for this movie. It was actually not easy to find. I found it somewhere, somehow. But yeah, don't watch it. I can't recommend it. Like, go find something better to watch that is worse or better. One or the other. Worse or better. Choose one. So that's And Be Real.
Right here. Oh, you're a real rapper. M-B-B-E. Yo. They call me And Be Real. Disrespect in the cannibal pill. If I die female, then ain't a man in my will. The truth is, this loose chick is too exclusive. It's my rap. You hear it coming out of deuceless. You need to stop fronting. You thinking you caught. You know me rhyming. You be speaking my thoughts. I'm not Fendi. So don't try to charm the chick. You copycat harm and twist. They call me real. But Austin Annie. My name in the center of New York. Like Marcus Garvey, Cynthia, a.k.a. Annie B. Miss Real, album jumping in on guaranteed sex film. This is for my real chicks. Listen to the lyrical thesis. Dudes double cross me like two pieces of jeans. You know, Mike, when I thought songs giving me speakers, understand, dog.